Hey friends, this is the Miss Wolfie from our half-acre homestead with a tea break. Now, today is actually Thursday the 25th, but you're going to get this on Friday, so we're going to do it now. The turkey final count was actually 10 out of 12 eggs. That's an 83% hatch rate. I had one little one hatch this morning, just after this video, a couple hours after this video upload, the past video uploaded. So I have 10. That's an 83% hatch rate, and I'm happy with that. Now, I've had a lot of questions about turkeys, about, you know, how to sex them and all that stuff. So I'm going to do my best to answer this as fast as possible, okay? I am not an expert on hatching turkeys, okay? Excuse me, I have a bug bite. I'm not an expert on hatching anything. This started 20-some years ago when I built my first incubator out of old windows and plywood and chicken wire and light bulbs. And I got my kids up at 5 o'clock in the morning to watch a couple of chicken chicks hatch. So, I mean, it's addictive. It is. I don't think I could ever go without having at least a few chickens, you know, scratching around, because it's one of those things that I've been at it for so long that it's just normal for me to have animals. Anyway, sexing turkeys, I absolutely have no idea how to sex turkeys. I usually wait until they're a couple of months old, and then you can tell usually by the snood, by their skin color around their head, whether they strut, their feathers, all that stuff, but it doesn't become apparent right away. If there is a way to sex turkeys, I have no idea how to do it, okay? And even going by the long snood and the gobble and the fantail doesn't necessarily make it a male. I know this because when I went to buy Red and Ruby, Ruby's 4 years old, and I don't think she's laying right now. But they wanted to sell me the other female, what they call the female, that was 2 years old, like Red is 2 years old. And it was a male. I'm telling you, it had a big, long snood. It gobbled, it puffed up, and it fanned its tail. And I said, I'm sorry, that's not a female. And they said, yeah, it is. She laid eggs last year. Now, if you watch Let's Homestead Instead, Stephanie actually had a female hen become male just before maturity. I don't know if that happens with turkeys, but they told me that turkey with the snood and the fantail and the gobble and the strutting and all that stuff had hatched out 19 eggs the year before. Well, I wasn't going to take a chance on that. So even if Ruby only lays 1 or 2 eggs, I'll be happy with that because she fits the bill as far as what a female turkey looks like to me. Yeah, 10 out of 12. That's really good. I've just put my incubator to soak and clean. Somebody mentioned that you should, or I should, help that one turkey chick out of its shell. I only do that when when I don't want to watch them die a slow death. Okay? If this little guy did not hatch and he was still alive in the shell, but the only time I will open that shell is to dispatch it quickly and put it out of its misery. Okay? I have helped a turkey hatch before. There is a reason why you don't help birds to hatch, the eggs to hatch. Because if they're not strong enough to hatch out of the shell on their own in a certain period of time, then they're not going to be able to survive comfortably in the world. Now, I'm sure there's people who have broken eggs open because the chick was almost out and it grew up to be fine. I'm sure that may be the case. But I don't have time to rehabilitate a brain-injured turkey this year. I just don't. So last year I did. I had, because I had such a low hatch rate last year, because of The one incubator crapped out on me, and I didn't realize it crapped out on me. So I helped one that was struggling to hatch. And he's still alive. His name is Spaz. You want to know why his name is Spaz? Because he shakes funny. He can't fan his tail. He gobbles. He poops and throws up weird all the time. I have no idea if this is because I helped him hatch and he just isn't a strong bird and he's all screwed up, or if there's a genetic anomaly. There's a genetic anomaly that, or malformation that said he shouldn't have hatched. So he's in with little Rose, the other little red, bourbon red, which was never a strong bird. And I'm hoping, I'm going to put her in with the bigger turkeys, or they're not bigger. They are bigger. She's a small turkey. I'm going to put her in with the bigger birds, and we're going to dispatch and dispose of Spaz. I don't even trust him to be eaten. Okay? So, folks, if you think you're doing it a favor by trying to help it hatch, don't. It can create more problems down the road if the bird does live. Okay? So, yes, I had one little guy left in there. Well, two of them. One didn't hatch, and one started to, but he got weaker and weaker, so I disposed of it, because I just didn't want to watch it die. And it was not going to hatch, because when I helped it out of the shell, it just kind of laid there and gasped. So I dispatched him with a thank you and an apology. I am not, again, I'm telling you, I'm not an expert in anything like this. Okay, I'm just sharing what I have learned over the years. You don't use cold water when you're first watering baby turkey poults. It's not that they'll, get wet and get a chill. If they swallow cold water, it's kind of like a brain freeze, but in their system. And they can catch a chill and die. I've had it happen when I did it by accident. Okay? The feed, you want a high protein feed, kind of like what you would give for pheasants. Probably 18%. 18% protein chick starter. Not the regular chick starter. It's not high enough in protein for the turkeys. Sexing, I just told you, forget about it. The person who asked me to, more than once, take the egg turners out of my incubators and turn the turkey eggs by hand twice a day. I did not do that because this is how I hatch turkeys. And although I'm sure you know what you're talking about, I don't know you. I don't know your methods. And the last I heard, when you're hand turning eggs, you hand turn them 3 times a day, every 8 hours. Before I had an egg turner, I hand turned eggs, and I did it at 6 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, and 10 at night. There is a problem with hand turning eggs, especially if you have more than 5 or 6. Excuse me. The problem is, every time you open the incubator, you're letting out a gust of the natural heat that they need. You're also letting out the humidity that they need. And if you're doing it 2 or 3 times a day, your element is going to have to heat up to compensate for the heat loss. And it needs to do it quick. So you could be overheating your eggs for a couple of seconds before it hits the proper temperature. There's all sorts of reasons why I don't hand turn eggs and why I will use an egg turner for ducks and turkey eggs. Okay? When it comes to humidity, I don't use a humidity reader anymore. All I do is I fill the trays in the bottom, and as it gets closer, once the egg turner comes out, that's another thing. Once you've taken the egg turner out and you've got the 3-day period for them to begin hatching, there is a reason you take the egg turner out 3 days before the hatch date. A, if they hatch inside the egg turner, you could be doing a lot of damage to the babies. B, the egg turner will confuse them. Okay, those last 3 days before hatching any eggs, well, turkey, chicken, and duck, these are the ones I know, right? The last 3 days, you lay them down and you leave them laid down in the incubator and you leave them alone, because the turkey or chick turns around inside the egg to get in position. And if the egg is constantly moving, it gets its bearings confused. And you can actually have them start pipping. Once you take the egg turner out, they start pipping. And I've had them drowned in their own egg fluid, because they always pip on the upside and they always hatch in a perfect, well, most of the time, as you saw, a perfect circle around the egg, around the shell. You know why? On the tip of their nose, when they're first born or when they're ready to hatch, they have like a little tooth. It's just a little tooth on the tip of their beak. And as they rotate in the egg and get into position, that last day, they get a little bit bigger, and that tooth begins the process of the pipping. And then they kind of roll in the egg and they pip all the way around until Bob's your uncle, out comes a baby. Okay? So that's another reason. Take the egg turner out 3 days before the hatch date. And remember, folks, if you're going to hatch turkeys and chickens together, put your turkey eggs in the egg turner, and then a week later, put in your chicken eggs. And when it comes time to take the egg turner out, everybody will be hatching at the same time. Okay? 83% hatch rate. I don't know if I mentioned it. The chick, I actually had a chick born or hatched about 3 hours after the video of the final hatch count uploaded. I had one more hatch. So it's all good. It's all good. I don't think I'm going to be hatching anymore. The Frankenbaiter, I didn't use it. I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, folks, but I had to do this more than once. And I am not sure if I'm repeating myself. The Frankenbaiter did not hatch any birds. It didn't work properly. I'm probably not going to use it this year, but I am going to work on it some more. I have some ideas on how to fix it. What I am using is 2 styrofoam incubators that I have. One I rebuilt last year, I believe it was, from 2 defunct ones, and one that I bought years ago. So this is the Mrs. Wolfie from Our Half Acre Homestead saying, for all you folks who wanted to know all I knew about turkeys, that's pretty much it. All right? I hope everybody has an amazing weekend. And we haven't finished planting yet. I got my raised beds done. Howie had to dig up all my wild tiger lilies because they were by the old chicken coop, and he's transplanted those. He's planted my rose bush, but we still have tomatoes, turnips, and pickling cucumbers. Not tomatoes, potatoes, turnips, and pickling cucumbers. And I know we're late putting them in, but that's okay. We still have until the end of the month, and we'll still get a crop of potatoes, turnips, and pickling cucumbers. All right? Take care. God bless. Have a great weekend. I love you guys.